Britain's Home Office has set immigrants up to fail, and it must undergo total reform. Those are the damning findings from a cross-party group of MPs looking into the government's treatment of the so-called Windrush generation of immigrants from the Caribbean. Our correspondent Vincent McAviney has been following it for us from London. Vincent, you've seen this report. What are your key takeaways?
Good morning, Tessa. Well, you may remember about 6 weeks ago, as you're saying, all anyone was talking about here at Parliament was the Windrush Scandal. It led to a national outcry and even the resignation of the British Home Secretary, Amber Rudd. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, the Windrush were a generation from the Caribbean invited to the UK in the post-war years to help rebuild the country. They were given British citizenship and lived here happily since. But then they began to be targeted by immigration services. Thousands of them had their residencies questioned. Some of them even lost their homes, their jobs, their healthcare. A number were detained and even sent back to countries in the Caribbean that they hadn't been to in around 50 years. Well, an influential group of MPs on the Home Affairs Select Committee is publishing a report today on this scandal. It is very critical of the British government and the treatment that these people had to endure. And it says that the UK's immigration system needs a root and branch reform. It said that enforcement targets led to a focus on people like the Windrush generation who may have been easier to detain and remove. Now, this report says that the hostile environment created by the then Home Secretary Theresa May had much to do with this. The Prime Minister has apologised. Sajid Javid, the new Home Secretary, said this was his first priority. There may be a hardship fund, the report says, that needs to be set up for these people. But it raises serious questions. If a group this size, some tens of thousands, these levels of mistakes can be made, then what is the Home Office going to do when it needs to process the millions of EU citizens that it needs to sort out during the Brexit?
All right, thank you for that, Vincent McAviney there in London.